All right, welcome to another Be the Exception podcast. If we could just have a quick moment of silence for Yana. Thank you.
Miss you, Yana. Almost got her this year. Almost got her.
Damn.
Come back. Almost got her to come back, but she made some valid points.
Fair.
Yeah. So we got a different Yana. A Yana with two N's that joined the team. Like, no shit.
And a healthy back.
I think so. Yeah, no spine severed.
Okay.
Shit. Love you, Yana. Shout out. Well, good morning, Kyle.
Good morning.
And good afternoon, good evening, and good night to whoever listens to this at whatever time of the day they listen to it.
Yeah.
Truman Show.
Yeah. What
Today we're talking about some of the blacklisted stuff.
Okay.
Like the business model type of deal. And like you were educating me on kind of, we're talking about the economy, the recession right now, quote unquote, the recession a couple years ago, quote unquote, and reasons why some people stay when they hate where they are.
Yeah.
And we don't have to, like we were talking about before we started recording, like we don't have to bring up that specifically if we don't want to, because obviously when I'm here with you, I want to keep it as much about blacklisted as possible because this community, in my perspective, just keeps exploding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So earlier you said, well, what part would you like to
doing-
start? Or where would you like to start with what we were just talking about leading into this?
I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Well, I want you were talking about like the differences in the recession with where we were in 22 and 23 versus now. And like how the fitness industry is a key indicator for like how the economy is and whatnot. Like,
I mean, look, not financial advice, I guess. Not that it's going to be.
No, but it's
like,
good perspective for people to hear.
This is like, so like as a business owner, you kind of have to have like a little bit of a tick on the economy because especially in a service industry. So you have to have a kind of like a idea of where the economy is going because if people don't have money to spend in a service industry, they're not going to buy your products. And so you have to launch different product lines in order to accommodate that based off of what people do have from a revenue stream. So like back in 2022, we launched the hybrid, 2022, 23, we launched the hybrid program, which was a lower price point product to try and get a little bit more income back into the company. So like, this is all just very like my assessment of things. Like I'm not saying like no, and nobody's an expert on the economy either. Like if you
I'm curious about your assessment on things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, like, okay. So back in 22, 23, there was 2 GDPs in a row of negative growth, which is technically
what is GDP?
Gross national or gross domestic product or something like that. It's how much money the government brings in.
Take notes, kids.
But there was 2 quarters in a row where it was negative, which would be a recession, technically. They apparently redefined what a recession is and said that we were not in a recession.
Just like they refined vaccine.
Yeah,
They're redefined.
exactly.
Sorry. No political stance there, just making
There
a
was
connection.
there was a lot of like, yes. But I mean, look, in that time frame, there was a lot of redefining of words and like maybe it's added definitions onto it. But there was two quarters of negative GDP growth, which is indicator of a recession. Recession is always a lagging indicator, though. So, like the recession, by the time a recession gets declared, it's probably already happened. The effects
Fair
are being
enough.
felt in the economy because you're taking the data. So the data has already happened. The data has had action, and then you're taking the data and interpreting the data. So the recession is a lagging indicator, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense to me, and I hope that's easy for everyone to follow because that's it's. Excuse me. It's kind of I viewed what you just said there as like when research comes out. It's always after the
Exactly.
fact, and it's usually not like an immediate lag.
Yeah.
I guess
Or
like
I
the
heard-
999 ping when you're gaming.
Yeah, like I heard something the other day on a Mayhem podcast. Brandon was on it. He was talking about how WAD Science came out and like showed data that people who did less reps actually did more work, which would indicate that movement efficiency is like a big component to being successful in the sport. And like with sports science, it's kind of like no shit, we already knew that.
Force
So,
times
like,
distance over time.
Yeah. So like I just with a lot of research stuff, it's always like it's always a lagging indicator of what it is. And it can explain how you do things. Like that's a great tool like with that podcast specifically, I know we're kind of jumping around right now, but
No,
with that,
it falls in line still. 'Cause
with
it's
that
still talking-
podcast specifically, it's like, oh, okay, so you've devised a way to tell whether somebody's getting more efficient or inefficient inside of a workout using whatever measurement tool that they used to show those metrics. We can now run protocols with that to see if our movement work and our movement efficiency is actually improving movement quality, if that makes sense.
Makes complete sense. I actually, it's a really good analogy, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
And I'm not just brown nosing because you're my homie and my boss.
Yeah.
It's just-
so like getting back into the economy thing, like we're set to see another year of growth. Jobs right now are like real bad from what my understanding. Like to get a job right now is very challenging, which would be an indicator of like the economy's not doing super great. Also an indicator of like, okay, so they're posting job data from the government, and it's like apparently we grew in jobs, but like there's a lot of underlying interpretation of that data,
Yeah.
right? Is it, back in 21, 22, 23, they were posting growths. They would post growths, and then 2 months later they would be like, oh, actually those numbers were wrong. We're reducing them by 100K or something crazy like that. So we'll see
sense.
what happens with this. Maybe they reduce it again. But a lot of that data also was shown to be people getting second jobs. So this could
How about
be
that?
this job growth could be continued, people getting second jobs. But what I kind of like analyzed and interpreted in regards to the economy is the fitness industry is a pretty big leading indicator of economic health because it is a service industry.
And it's one of the last things. I'm going to
It's one of the first things that people will cut out of their budget.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. So like,
It's just wild to think about.
I 100% get it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like people that treat this as a sport, this is fun. Like,
Yeah.
And so it's a hobby. And like, if you have to cut back on income, the first thing you're going to cut is your hobbies,
It's fair.
or figure out a different way to have lower the cost price point.
Isn't that crazy to like not looking at it from the competitive side, but like being a member of a gym or this, that, and the other, that health and wellness is more considered a hobby in the eyes of our culture.
Okay,
than
so
anything?
I get super frustrated with this argument.
All right,
the
let's hear it.
time. Like,
I like this. Let's go.
there's an argument in CrossFit is like invest in your health because it's like, or what is it? How does it go? Like
No idea anymore.
something like an investment in your health is like the best investment you can make, or something in regards like that. But here's the thing: is like that was like a selling point. That was a selling point for CrossFit back in 2012, 13,
Yeah.
whatever. I heard it a couple of years ago again pop up. But here's the thing: you can go run. You can go if you're genuinely just a health client. Like you can go run. You can go ruck. You can go like a backpack's $20 at Target. Just go buy a backpack and
Go pick one up off the sidewalk.
fill
Go
it with
steal one
sand.
from a little kid.
Yes. Yeah.
Heh.
And you can go get a $20 membership at a Snap Fitness and lift if you really want to. But you can run and ruck and be relatively healthy. And then with the internet now, you can look up whatever workout you want to look
Yeah.
up, and boom, you got it right there.
If you want to maintain being an introvert from quarantine and not socialize and be a part of a community, then yes, I won't disagree with that one bit.
Or you're like, I need to cut expenses. I
Yeah.
can just take what I'm doing in here and do it at home.
Or get an old flip phone and focus more on your nutritional intake.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Dan's going to do when we upgrade the phone. Go
Yeah.
on old school flip phone and going to hire Meredith.
Yeah, perfect. So,
Shout out Max Nutrition.
so like essentially what you're paying for is kind of fancier equipment in a gym, which you can also argue buy a garage gym. It's an investment. In 2 years, it pays off.
And you can write it off if you have the proper health insurance or
Yeah.
whatever. Like with USAA, you're allowed to write off.
Right. So really what you're paying for inside of a CrossFit gym is community and accountability and a little bit of maybe some fancier equipment that you can
Yeah.
maybe use if you have an open gym membership or open gym at your gym.
I think so. The word you just use, accountability, is the big investment, in my opinion, there, because a lot of people they don't have self accountability.
For sure.
But so that it's frustrating to you that it's the most it's an investment into your well-being, correct? Is that state it one
I
more
just
time?
don't really agree with that statement when you're trying to sell somebody on what you provide as a product.
Gotcha.
I think it's a terrible selling point.
That's that I don't disagree, but they did a good job of like looping it in with like the pretty shirtless people
Yeah.
on the TV,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
not realizing what all they're taking.
Right. Yeah.
No offense to them.
Yeah, there you go. Just quit your gym membership and take a bunch of PEDs.
Honestly, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
I think
I mean, there's research to show that it works.
I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
I might.
Okay. Don't care.
So I'm gonna just stop before we go on a tangent.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Where
Go
were
ahead.
we? Where were we going with all of that?
So we're going back to like how the recession in 22, 23 or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Like,
So
how you define like
leading indicator, I think, is actually the fitness industry because it's one of the first things people cut from their budget because it's so accessible. Like you can literally just walk out your front door and go run. Mm-hmm. You don't need anything fancy to necessarily get fitness in. At a gym, you're paying for those three things that I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. So the fitness side of things is all commodity. It's all commodity, essentially. And so service and commodities will get cut out of the budget first thing. So I think the fitness industry is a leading indicator of economic health in wherever you are.
that
you're living.
makes complete sense to me, honestly. Like it's since it's the first thing people will cut, it'd be the last thing that they would buy.
Yeah.
So it makes sense if people are still willing to pay, then are we in that big of a recession type of deal? Are we on
Right.
the cusp of one? I don't have a fucking clue.
Same. Yeah.
Right. The closest information I'm aware of when it comes to finances and economy and this, that, and the other is whatever my wife tells me, which this is going to sound mean. I apologize to her if she hears this, but like, she allows herself to get upset over this stuff, and she admitted it the other day. And that's not fully the case right now because in 2008 it was so much worse.
Yeah.
And like if people are able to like quote unquote scrape by now, like put it into stocks and whatnot, so like it gets reinvested, this, that, and the other. But anyway, my extent of knowledge is her, and then like you and a couple others in the crypto world. So using that information that you just provided old Dan here, you said right now people are still willing to invest into it. Invest, quote unquote, into.
They're still willing to purchase it.
They're still willing to purchase
spend
it.
money. That's
So-
what we've seen.
You were mentioning something about it, the 2022-2023
Yes.
issue
So like
compared to now. So give us a compare and
yeah,
contrast.
so like just like going back into that time frame from
that was when we first came about with you, me, Kyle, and Griff,
2023.
right? Or me,
Yes.
Griff, and Pat, right?
July
23?
July of 2023 is
Okay.
when you guys came
Okay.
around.
Continue.
Or June or July, one of the two. So in 2022, from what was it? Either September, October of 2022 to May of 2023, I didn't pick up a single client, and I was the only person working for the company at that point in time,
Right.
technically.
How many clients did you have at that point?
Low. It was like 27. So
Low.
I was like scraping by, essentially.
Well, I can see like how that's considered low, like making a living off of it.
Yeah.
Like, to Dan here,
Living and trying to pay business expenses.
I remember when I was programming for like 8 people or maybe 8 people out of CrossFit Cataclysm.
Yeah.
I was completely overwhelmed.
Yeah. I mean, look, you get better at it, and you come up with systems, and like you improve, right? And like you can write things faster, you can see patterns faster, you begin to be able to kind of like assess things better, you come up with better systems, etc. So like you can hold a higher client load. It's the communication aspect that's the challenging part.
Yeah.
The writing the programs not super challenging. It's the communication aspect that's the challenging
So
part.
did that part change at all? So you picked up 0 clientele from September, October to May.
Yeah. So what I was saying with that is like that is the time frame that the economy was the worst, and like where I think that was the time frame. I wish we had a fact checker on this, but I think that was the time
I
frame
can
when
check it real quick.
there was 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. Somewhere either before that or right after it was.
Tell me to look.
No, I think it
All right,
would
that's
kill
fair.
the flow.
That's fair. So assume
so
2
then-
negative GDPs during that, somewhere around the September to May timeframe.
Yeah,
Of 2022 to
it might have been
2023.
it might have been shortly before that or shortly after, but it was showing like the economy was shit. It needed to pick back up, and like over that 9-month period, it like slowly picked back up.
So you're jogging my memory a little bit. Rachel did inform me that Home Depot had to lay off a lot of people at corporate within that window.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right.
Yeah. So it was just a really tough time in the economy. That's when we tried. We introduced a lower price point product for people. We got a few people on it, and it was just kind of like. So that was like where we adjusted. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Fast forward to
now, where there's like, I guess a bunch of indicators that a recession might be coming.
Yeah.
But we're still seeing influx into the company right now, and that we are a drastically different business than we were back then in regards to our social media presence, content we're putting out. And
hit on that. If you don't, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I want you to hit on those pieces really quick. Those little like subcategories, the nuances of things that have changed. That other than like the obvious of it's the economy is not in as bad a state now as it was in 22, 23. It could potentially be taking that information, putting it aside for a moment. Mm-hmm. Other factors that have helped. Like how has the clientele increased, and what things have changed? In let's just say May, June 2023.
Yeah, so I think I had some thoughts there and I just lost them. But I think the big thing is just our social media presence is way higher now. Mm-hmm. We're posting like 3 times a day. We're on YouTube, like we're on TikTok now. So like our social media presence is significantly higher.
It's a little different too, which I selfishly like.
The social media presence?
Yeah, like the immediate interviews are hilarious.
Yeah,
people are dying, and then Pat's meme posts and stuff, and
so like there's
not your typical postings,
right? Like so there's that component of it, and like there's a bunch of different subcategories to that, mm-hmm. right? We're getting better at social media is probably what I would call it.
Fair.
Yeah. I listened to a podcast back in somewhere between 21 to 23. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was basically a bunch of VCs, venture capitalists, talking about companies. And actually listening to venture capitalists is where I learned the most about business.
What is that, if you don't mind me asking real quick?
Okay,
just
so,
real brief.
Yeah, so venture capitalists basically raises money from people. They're like, we'll invest in you as people.
Okay.
They go out and they buy business. So it's like what owns it's called private equity essentially. They'll go out and they'll buy businesses. They'll turn those businesses around in a debatable way, whether it's actually healthy or not. And then they'll sell the business.
Right,
and then that profit.
Like a house flipper.
Yeah.
But for businesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be merger and acquisition, might be leveraged buyouts. Like there's a lot of different things that they can do inside of that realm.
Okay.
But to be in there, you have to know a lot about businesses. And essentially the guy was like, when you start a business, there's two positions basically. Mm-hmm. There's head of product development and head of marketing. And I was like, I've been doing the head of product development role
I remember
the whole time, and I've done no marketing. And I basically came to the realization that the fitness industry has a bunch of product development individuals. There's 2 sides to the fitness industry. I'll say there's a bunch of product development people who think that the thing that they're creating is like the greatest thing known to man. It's the next big thing for fitness, et cetera, et cetera. Like you reinvented the wheel. In reality, very few people in the fitness industry reinvent the wheel.
How can they these days?
Yeah, right. CrossFit's like the one that reinvented the wheel, right? You can create it, but
they made it marketable. They reinvented it on the marketing side, in my opinion. Just we can go down that rabbit hole another time,
right?
But
there's always been high intensity stuff, but they took high intensity stuff and made it into a fun thing.
There you go.
They did reinvent the wheel because they were able to reach out to a bunch of people.
They took they took P90X Insanity and added a barbell.
And
I'm joking.
Gymnastics.
I'm joking. I'm very much kidding. Being facetious because Taibo was before that.
Yeah.
It was just a progressive piece.
Marketing.
Moving on. Yep.
P90X marketing. Taibo marketing. They were really great at marketing. They weren't great at product development.
No,
does that make sense?
Yeah, Taibo was terrible.
Yes, right. So it's like they weren't great at product development.
No.
They created a product, but it was really the marketing that sold that product. And the only thing really in the last maybe 30 years in the fitness industry that's new and fun is CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like yoga's been around forever.
Yep. Pilates.
Pilates has been around forever.
What's another one?
Zumba, I guess, could technically be
it's fair.
reinventing the world, but I don't like its popularity is probably dying off. Like there's things with staying power, like yoga has staying power, weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting has staying power, powerlifting has staying power, CrossFit has staying power, but they're all sports components. So
Bodybuilding
CrossFit,
too.
bodybuilding, but there's a sport.
But
There
it's a sport
has to be
piece,
a
yeah.
sport component to it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep, makes
so
complete
like
sense.
in the product development side of things, that the sport side is what is a good product development. When
Gotcha.
you come in and you're like, oh, my program can help you get to X inside of this product. You're not creating a product.
No, that's
you're creating, like you
false
are,
promise.
but it's not going to be the bee's knees. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. So all right.
I came to the realization that the fitness industry is more of a sales and marketing industry than it is a product development industry.
So you adjusted then
Social media.
between the within the negative GDPs. I remember you telling me the story, and I'm pretty sure you told it to me the last time we spoke. And like, but before Pat, Griff, and myself were more involved, like, should I use the word hired loosely for myself? Them hired full, right?
Yeah.
So before, like the three of us, like I remember having you talking to me about that podcast.
The VC podcast?
Yes,
Yeah.
because like I was at a state where I was trying to help you, Pat, and Griffin in separate fashions, and then like you talking to me about that podcast. That's when the light bulb went off of like, oh fuck, we're all meant to be married.
Yeah. Yeah. So I, again, kind of going back to like bigger picture, like there's multiple different things that have happened. And like, that was kind of a big thing was light bulb moment. Okay, this is a sales and marketing industry. And I know I'm not trying to sound like I don't care about the coaching side of things. 100% care about the coach. That is my passion. I hate sales and marketing.
Everybody in the Blacklisted community knows that like coaching is your passion
Yeah,
for sure.
so, like,
no one would ever question that.
That's my passion. Watching people succeed and grow I love that. Like that is the grassroots of what this company is, right? And I'll never walk away from that. But in order to grow the company, we have to have sales and marketing. And to the point where like I need to be like our coaches need to have enough clientele coming into the company so that they can make a living to support their coaching.
There you go.
Because if you're not making a living supporting your coaching, that grassroots product starts to deteriorate because you got to go find other places to find income, or you're just stressed all the time. So like in order for the company to survive and the coaches to survive, there needs to be marketing exposure, if that makes sense.
Makes complete sense.
So I'm having to go back and learn all of that and like understand it and get better at it. And so we're doing it in a way that initially I wanted to do it, where we're celebrating the athletes' successes. We've done a lot of reels off of those because like I never wanted to be the face of the company. I understand now that like in the fitness industry, you have to be the face of the company, but I want to make sure that we're pushing our athletes more than we're pushing ourselves as individuals. We still have to be out there, marketing our like how intelligent we are about coaching and all that stuff. But ultimately, I want our athletes' successes to be kind of the driving factor of our marketing campaign, if that makes sense.
Makes complete sense, and that's understandable, fair, and like my opinion, that was a pretty clear picture. Granted, I'm a lot closer to like yourself on the business side of things, and we've talked about it before. So I hopefully people who have questions about that, like listening to this, will ask you directly because like I don't know. I don't think everyone, unless they're OGs like John and Amanda and Sydney, et cetera, like I don't know if they really know just how much has been done on your side of things. Let me rephrase. I'm not going to say your side of things. I guess I'll just say the business side to keep it annoying and lame like that. The degree of appreciation there, I'm sure from them and definitely myself, and like bro, you're one of the most driven people I've ever met in my life when it's come to this company or a company like this. And it's a big reason why I'll speak for myself. Like, I never want to be paid by you. Just working with you or under you is, even if it means like making your coffee, which I don't think I've ever done because I'll probably do it wrong.
I make my own coffee.
There you go. Like, I'm sorry to be like metaphorically sucking your dick at the moment, but like I think people need to understand just how valuable you are and how much behind the scenes work you've done, not just to keep the company afloat for your well being, but to like make the cream of the crop human being in the fitness world or the some whatever fitness competitive world. Or help me out here.
Well, okay.
Anything in
like,
that category, is that fair enough to say?
Yeah. I think we're like, I want to stay with like talking about some of the things.
It's fair.
that
My
help the
heart
business.
exploded for a
Yeah.
second. I'm sorry.
So like, if we want to get into like everything, like where the company started and
Yeah.
stuff like that, we can. But so like, so I realized it needed to be a marketing thing. I was leaving for school, and this is like right on the cusp of like shit sucking, and you guys came on board in June or July of 2023. I left for school in September, and you guys were a big catalyst to kind of start some processes in the company. So we started some processes in the company, and I think that ultimately, like down the road, led to growth in like the May-ish time. Well, May of 2024.
Definitely May because
Yeah.
of what happened with the previous
Yeah.
location.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. So
Yeah.
like,
Please do.
you know, Griffin and Pat did a great job of just, you know, maintaining what we had going in person here. They did a great job of keeping the community sane and like keeping the community running.
I mean,
while it was
Saturdays were
live.
great.
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah. So they did a great job of keeping the community going while I was up at school. And then in May is when the company of 2024 is really when the company started kicking off. So we did a couple of things like in the open that helped us get success, mainly on the team side of things. I'm going to keep those private for now.
That's fine. You do. It's fine.
But ultimately what it was we were coaching and caring about people. And that's ultimately what saw like some success for us inside of that time frame. And so May time frame of 2024, honestly, biggest blessing in disguise. We were renting space out of Breaking Boundaries. TTT came in, bought out the space without us knowing. We were given 3 weeks notice to get out of there, which is wild on both fronts. Like,
We was really fucked up.
yeah. Max said that in the contract, in the contract negotiations, he couldn't inform us, but like he was negotiating with Larry since like February or something.
Yeah,
like
it does.
So
That doesn't make sense to not be able to inform
the tenants, and the thing
everybody.
is like no tenants were informed. So like
Yeah.
it wasn't just us; it was like no tenants were informed.
Zumba, the PT guy, the personal training people.
The boot camp that was in there.
Yeah.
So like no tenants were informed, and like it's probably on both parties, right? Maybe a little bit less on TTT than it is on the owner of that.
Probably
of that
51%
location.
Larry, 49% TTT.
Yeah, so-
especially like the personal relationship we had with those guys. I mean, all of us. I mean, you used to work there.
Yeah.
I have friends there. Like,
Yeah.
the fuck.
Yeah. So
Oh, well.
whatever. It's
Huge
a blessing
blessing.
in disguise.
Huge
honestly.
blessing.
So we moved into Training Box now, and Cooper has been awesome.
Hell
Just great. I think a lot of
Cooper's
our
sellers.
ungrowth or like our just kind of like stagnicity, if that's a word.
Nope, but use it.
Okay. Our just being stagnant for so long.
Stagnicity.
Sure. Was actually because of the location that we were in, Breaking Boundaries.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, it's right across the parking lot from that Indian restaurant. It smelled to high heaven.
I don't think it was the space necessarily.
No?
I think it was more just the environment and the community.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like we came in here and within 2 weeks we had 24 to 30 people working out on a Saturday class here.
That's true, dude.
So,
that was nuts.
like,
there
we-
was never that many people. Well, there was a couple times where it was,
Yeah.
but like,
We were just able to express just how good we are with a community and like having fun and building people up and making people better. And like that was so like that whole thing was just a catalyst for growth over the last year. And now, and then couple that with like having great coaches on board, couple that with social media presence now ticked up. You know, that has all kind of like led to, you know, people understanding what we're doing here now and growth over the last year. Projected, we'll see what happens, but we're projected to grow again this year. So
that's awesome, man. Like, again, I'm gonna try to keep. I can't keep bias out.
yeah,
Like when it comes to this stuff, because I'm so proud of you, and I'm happy that like things for Griffin and Pat have also fallen in line, and not just with occupationally, but I mean Griffin's now got all three of those teen athletes are with him, right?
which
Elliot, Sella, and Amber.
yeah.
And like they're all going to the games, right?
No, they're all outside of a spot right now.
Just outside of a spot.
Amber will probably qualify. We'll see. We'll see.
Fair. And then,
Stella,
I mean, fucking Ray made it.
Yep.
Is he you or Pat?
He's with Krista. He's working on
Krista. Okay,
gymnastics
my
with
fault.
Krista. Yeah.
My fault. Sorry,
So,
Krista. I mean that's fucking awesome, man. And
Yeah.
like you have access, or you have a relationship with, in my opinion, after talking with her, the best like nutrition individual, Meredith with Max Nutrition. Like she's incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
so
that
you-
was kind of like another, kind of big catalyst was we had a lot of our networking grew as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Raphael too, man.
yep,
Like
over the last year, just our networking grew. I can't remember when we brought him up for the camp.
Yeah.
And like he was, when I came down, we made a social media change. Probably for like it needed to happen. Our first
what do you mean when you came down?
when I came back down from school. So
Okay,
I came back
okay,
down
okay,
from
okay,
school
okay.
in the start of June.
Yeah.
And we started growing when the whole shit started popping off with TTT. Like our May time frame, we saw an increase in income.
Understandable.
But I think that was from the open and like a growth factor from the open.
Well, we
So,
also, I mean, the amount of value that you express, I'm sorry, what you express with the thanks and the value of, damn it, when you expressed your thanks to and you held everyone's input to high value for helping you or helping Blacklist to find a new home, like, I would argue that helped a lot as well because people felt more valued by you. And I don't
Yeah.
just mean like people already associated with the community. I mean, people who were like just
Yeah.
outside the community, like friends with athletes
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah.
And they're like, oh,
I mean, that's
cool.
That was honestly like a really cool, like it was a super cool experience because we had so many people. Like I was like, we got 3 weeks. I'm just gonna put a video out. And
Yeah.
we put the video out. I think we had 4 to 6. I can't remember the exact number. Gyms contact us about moving in with them, and
it
sharing
was more
space
than
with
that.
them. It might have been.
It was close to a dozen.
Okay. Was it?
From what I recall, yeah. I mean, initially it may have been like 6 to 8, but like
There was
across
6
the
to 8. Maybe that was like
immediate.
We could like actually feasibly do. Was maybe what it was, or 4 to 6. I think that were feasible within the.
I know
within the
that-
distance that we were trying to look at.
1, 2, 3. Myself, I went to 6 to
Oh,
talk
okay.
to people for you.
Okay.
Griffin came with me to a couple,
Okay.
I believe. But then we were also contacted by a handful, like up in a couple up in northern Georgia, I
Yeah.
believe, and then like downtown, and then I think
Yeah.
wasn't one of them also like CrossFit Carrollton. But that's like
No.
was it not? Okay,
No.
couldn't recall.
Yeah. So that was very cool. Like we saw like
That's
I've never
wild.
I've never told the story of this company officially. And I'm going to save it for another podcast.
Oh, damn.
But a lot of this
cliffhanger, bro. Damn.
a lot of this company has been built off of just like honestly pain and like in 2018 I sent out a note or a placard talking about kind of like the ethos of the company, and the whole top line was pain, suffering, and misery. And so,
I mean, you don't become blacklisted without enduring all those.
yeah, and then also perseverance with that. So there's I guess a little bit of a story behind that too, but the whole concept of the company was built off of pain, suffering, and misery, because that's all that I've genuinely experienced in the fitness industry. Is just like I've had ups, but the downs are just so much worse.
So you do a good job of like having people on here to talk about their story. I think the community is ready to hear yours. on an episode.
Okay.
Honestly, I think you need to be interviewed by me, Griffin, and or Pat, or even one of the athletes.
Yeah.
And if you're comfortable with it, you don't have to be fully vulnerable. But like, I mean, obviously, you share what you want to share.
Yeah.
But I would be curious
Okay.
because
Yeah, we can
I
maybe
don't
do
know
that.
the whole story.
Yeah, we could maybe do that.
That's
I forgot where we were going with that, but yeah. So it was very cool during the May time frame because we just saw the better side of the company, and like now we've opened a new chapter where like the company started off in like a dark place, but it's evolved into this concept and this idea of we're blacklisted from the fitness community because the fitness community is a terrible place, and we're blacklisted from that badness and actually a good spot for people to come and grow as human beings.
Yeah, allowing themselves to be an exception.
Yes. And that's ultimately, I think, what the business needed to transform into. And I think that's the direction we're going to be pushing for a long period of time.
Dude, that just gave me goosebumps thinking about that. Like the blacklisted darkness and from the ashes arises as Phoenix type of deal. Is that too cliche?
I don't know. Depends on if you like Harry Potter or not.
I wasn't even referencing Harry Potter. I mean, yes, Fox is, Dumbledore's Phoenix, Eresh from the Ashes. I was just thinking of Phoenix from the Ashes in general, but it's fine.
I mean, everything gives birth to something new, right?
Yeah, that's fair. So,
and companies have to evolve. And so like,
yeah,
I'll be honest, probably during the first 5 years of the company, I was pretty depressed. And
I believe it.
and like so there was seeing that side of the fitness community help us out was a big eye opener to the fact that there is a better community out there and we don't need to be sucked into the bullshit of the bad side of the fitness community.
It's funny because like you, Griffin, and Pat have all been on like the real shit side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like I won't say in a similar fashion, but it's been within each category of you guys, it's been a similar road of like how you became quote unquote blacklisted or how you live in the dark of blacklisted when the reality is like the three of you are so exceptional.
Yeah.
And how you operate. Because like the three of you, and I'm not lumping myself into this because I don't program under blacklisted yet. Wink. Like the three of you funnel to the same road of like, this is an athlete driven company.
Yeah.
This is a clientele driven company. Like,
Yeah.
I see nothing but like, other than like on Pat's Dissident page, which that's separate, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But no,
I don't know if I really want to discuss the
no,
whole business model.
You don't have to. I was just like the only.
Dissident is a part of Blacklist.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because that's really the only page where I see a lot of like Pat,
Yeah.
a lot of the coaches or whatnot, right?
Yep.
But that's like his thing.
Yep.
And he's posting progressions, but it's not only him. It may just be the algorithm on my phone because I like looking at Pat's ass. I don't know. But the thing about it is like, it's so fucking difficult to get three other near like-minded people to run a business like this. Yeah. When did you realize like, okay, I'm comfortable I recognize that these are like-minded people to be a part of, and they actually have the same vision and mission that
I've always
Blacklisted.
been looking for people. Like,
I know you've always been like
this is like one thing that I'm kind of like understanding is like you have to cast your nets wide to find the people that will drive your company forward. And honestly, and like I knew this, but like it takes me a while to understand things, if that makes sense. Like I know things, but to understand them, it takes me a while. So like I know that you need to have a team of people to drive a company forward.
Yep.
Like, but in order to find that team, you genuinely have to cast a super big net in order to
You
find
did do that for sure.
find those people.
You found some of the rough people first.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Right. So it's like,
No offense.
not everybody's going to be bought into your business model, and just it is what it is.
Yeah,
and
sure.
like that was a learning lesson for me. Not everybody can sustain this business model either. Like this is a very tough business model. Like we're growing from the grassroots up, and like it's going to take a lot of fucking work has taken a lot of fucking work to grow into something that you might see with a Mayhem Proven or, hard work pays off, anything of those. Because they, like, Mayhem Proven and hard work pays off. I don't know if we'll ever ascend to that level.
Is there a need to?
Your goal as a business owner is always to ascend to the highest level you can,
Sure.
right? Or just achieve something as great as possible as you can in any endeavor you take, right? I don't know if we'll ever ascend to that level, but what I do know is that time in the industry, if you stay in it, you grow.
Is it possible to sustain the model you currently have?
It's going to have to evolve. No, it's going to have to evolve.
Yeah, so speaking from a bias standpoint, my opinion is that would not be worth it.
What?
To sacrifice like how you run this right now and how the community is, if that any portion of that has to be sacrificed, unless it's like clearly a negative impact.
I don't think the community has to be sacrificed. The business model has to change.
So, all right, 5-minute discussion, timing it.
Okay.
How would the business model change, and what would you change right now if you were on the cusp of that level? Go.
We can talk about that, not on the podcast. That's a lot of strategic planning shit that I want to talk about.
All right, good.
In public.
About 12 seconds. Well done.
Just
New
like,
PR.
The business model has to change.
All right, that's fine.
Like,
that was more for my curiosity.
I'll be honest, like, I float this company right now, and I can't keep floating the company if it's going to grow.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I know that was a pressing question to like put you on the spot there. That was more curiosity for me because I hear what you say about the business model would have to change. I hear those words, but what my GPU process is all right, we're no longer going to be Blacklisted will no longer be an athlete driven company.
No, that's not true.
Yeah. So that's fair. That's where my dumbass goes.
The business model, like, our core value is athlete driven coaching, right?
Yeah.
The business model can change to continuously reflect that as that model grows or as that core value helps sustain growth.
Okay.
It's the systems that you're creating and like the job roles that people are taking on that need to change. And that essentially is going to change the business model.
Okay. All right. That makes, I can get enough info there.
Yeah.
To ask further questions later. So, all right. For the last.
And a lot of it, to
Go
caveat
ahead.
off of that, I have a lot of that planned out. The company just hasn't grown into it.
Gotcha.
So like,
What steps are needed to help get that company to grow? Like, keep it generic.
well, we need to get, honestly, it's income is like the biggest thing. So like, I've only taken out around $10,000 in loans for this company.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's stupid actually. I probably should be taking out more.
I won't fully disagree with that, but I am not a business guy.
Yeah, I mean, outright I should. So like, I don't like taking out loans. I really hate them, and I wanted to see sustained growth. And like I was talking about before, is it takes me a while to understand things. I knew jack shit about getting into business when I had started this thing. I didn't know anything, and so it's taken me 6 years to understand things about business that very basic things.
I mean, if
about
you didn't go
business.
to school for it and you weren't in the Marines to learn business, then it would make sense that that it would take a minute to learn business when you're self-taught.
Right.
It's like there are many people who I've taught in the swimming world who are self-taught they've been self-taught for like 10 to 15 years and they know we're fucking close to where they need to be for the goals that they have.
Right.
But they're still climbing that fucking mountain. And now we've added a Sherpa.
Yeah. So, I didn't necessarily want to take that step into just dumping a bunch of money into the company when I wasn't really sure like what we needed.
That's a smart move.
Yeah.
I mean, and now
I have a better concept
closer
of
to
like
that point,
what needs to happen if you were to get a bunch of money, right, or take out a massive loan. But I have all the concepts for where the company needs to evolve to. It's just the growth factor to get to those concepts is the kind of limiting factor and the capital of it, if that makes sense.
I'm not of a business mind. It makes good enough sense to me, so I'm sure it'll make more sense to people who are
Hopefully, or it just
listening
sounds
to
like
this.
I'm talking out of my ass.
I don't I mean, I would strongly argue against that because like you're speaking about the business, like you're not speaking out of your ass. You're saying what is. You're speaking matter of fact, and then like you would with people hearing this, that would likely open up the doors for opportunity for people to come talk to you about
Yeah,
potentially
possibly.
helping you grow further to a degree. Because like, look, man,
I'll say this. Sorry, I didn't
Fine.
mean to cut you off. There's been a lot. So, like in 2018, I had a concept for a business. I had ideas of how to grow into it. I thought the growth factor was going to be a lot faster. We were growing pretty well. And now, like, I'm seeing all these things taking place where it's like, that was the idea that I had back in 2018. That was the idea that I had back in 2018.
that's great.
So, like,
That's great news, right?
I mean, I
It's
think
delayed, but it's great news, right?
I think it's just testament. It's a little bit of a confidence builder for me that like,
that you're always ahead of the curve.
well, I have ideas that work, if that makes sense.
It's-
But it's the like the idea oftentimes is the easy part. It's the execution to get to that idea that becomes the hard part.
That's fair,
So
yeah.
like for example, Leaders Eat Last, I think was maybe the book or one of who wrote that book?
You knew you were going to ask me.
Yeah,
We can look it up later.
Yeah. In one of his books, can you look it up now?
Yeah. Keep talking.
Yeah. In one of his books, he talks about Walt Disney was like,
Simon Sinek.
yeah, Simon Sinek, yeah. So in one of his books, I can't remember which one, he talks about Walt Disney being like having this vision and like just being an extraordinary like visionary, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had to have somebody come in and like tell like, hey, this is what I want to do, and then somebody else would come in and execute on that concept. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense because actually my kids and wife and I we just watched a documentary on that.
Yeah.
About Walt Disney. So
It was his brother. His brother was
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, for me, like the idea is the easy part, and maybe not for some people it's the easy part, but the idea is kind of like the easier part. It's the execution on how to get to that idea that's the challenging part for me, and that's something that I've been trying to work more on, and like be better about doing that.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, the idea is easy. Like everybody can have an idea. The execution on the idea is the harder part.
I'm very thankful that you are more aware of that because I will say something here that's going to be a risky thing maybe, but like me, Pat, and Griffin, we've been kind of sitting on our haunches and be like, come on, man, you can do it. We believe in you. Your ideas do work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like Griffin's had to overcome that shit too. Like he knows his ideas, like they work. The execution was the hardest part, but the barriers for him different than yourself. It was whatever he was encountering at Douala, or it's kind of the same with Pat, but he was up in Virginia and there were issues there. But like that's what I said earlier, like the three of you kind of having a similar experience of like your guys' ideas are fucking phenomenal, and then the hang up of the execution, like the three of you together, and then you got old Dan over here who likes to overstep every possibility and be obnoxious about it.
Right.
Like, I'm going to make you guys uncomfortable as best I can to get you to that. And then you guys say, no, that doesn't make sense yet. Okay, I'll listen for now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of the business has just been, me doing a bunch of things. And like when I first started, I don't know if it was like COVID or what, but like a lot of what I was doing was not working. And maybe it was just because the business was so new or whatever. But post COVID, a lot of what I was doing was not working.
Well,
And we did hit some like trials and tribulations during that time frame. And like a lot of the businesses, you try something out, you fail at it, and you readjust and you learn from it.
well, it didn't help that the full story wasn't expressed with what happened when you got released from TTT.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even know the full story until like a couple of years ago when I talked to you about it. Like,
Yeah.
and one of what I thought my best friends, was working there and kept that information from me. He's like, I think it's kind of fucked up, and I'm sorry to bring that like into the conversation and whatnot.
Yeah.
but like that didn't help either because it was shortly before quarantine that happened, and like even I had.
about a year and a half before.
Even I had a
2
bad
years, 2
even
years.
I had a bad picture painted with you until you contacted me that first time to get like you and Amanda, Logan,
Yeah.
not Logan, Luke,
Yeah.
and Jamie into the water.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah,
day at
yeah.
Mountain View, I was like, oh, I'm an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't do a good job of. I wasn't a good like a super great networker back then, so I apologize.
Well, stop.
And I
I mean,
also-
like, you need to know, and I'm overstepping right now greatly, but like that, my perspective, that was a big thing that was keeping you from growing. Was like there were inaccurate stories being shared, and people who were actually there and saw it take place like didn't
Yeah.
stand up for you, and so some people did. And I'm not gonna say everyone,
Yeah,
but look,
I mean-
I'll stop talking about it there. I wanted to make sure you had a full picture painted.
Yeah.
That like there was one thing out of your control that was fucking you over, and the fact that you're here where you are now, like, is absolutely incredible to me. And you've been able to maintain your athlete driven company, and like the results showed during the Open, the teens here, the semifinal,
Yeah.
the what was that called? Affiliate semifinals or whatever.
Age group semifinals.
Age group semifinals. Okay. And then the next round of the Open for Blacklisted is going to be just as good, if not better than last year. Yeah, or not next round Open. Sorry.
Yeah.
What's the next bit?
In affiliate semifinals.
In
yeah.
affiliate semifinals. That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, and over the last year, we've kind of taken a little bit of a different approach to like the clientele that we're wanting to get on board.
Right.
We've
I love it. By the way.
I know everybody has their opinion on CrossFit. I don't think anyone is right or wrong in their opinion on CrossFit. We chose to kind of start to pull away from a lot of the main stuff that CrossFit is doing. We'll see who they sell to, and what the potential future of CrossFit is. I think the sport of fitness is always going to be there. It's not going anywhere.
No, it'll just be a different name.
Well, I like
Maybe not a different name, but it'll be
the CrossFit Games might go away.
really.
They might go away. The sport of fitness will always stay. There will always be a beach brawl, a fittest of the
yeah,
coast, RIP Granite Games. But maybe maybe that comes back around. Wadapalooza, East and West Coast, like they're expanding. So like
Yeah.
there will always be the quote sport of fitness.
Did you say TFX?
TFX, yeah. There will always be quote the sport of fitness.
Yeah.
Whatever the hierarchy of that, I think is going to change. But there's always going to be the local
Yeah.
and bigger quote mid-tier competitions.
You kind of lump grid into that too a
little
little
bit.
bit, but it's not fitness based; it's performance based.
Right. And like I think grid is separate from the sport of fitness.
I won't disagree with that one bit.
It's a different business model. It's a different sport.
CrossFit Fitness is a good foundation for it.
Yes, but it's completely
Yeah,
different.
that's fair.
So we're choosing to focus more on the athlete that's competing in the sport of fitness, not necessarily competing for the top spot at
Gotcha.
wherever. Do I think that we can work with that athlete? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that. But we're not necessarily chasing for that athlete. But we'll like if you choose to go that route, we can develop you to that position.
Yeah, results don't lie.
Liana, like I'll just talk about like a few of the successes that we've
Please
had this
do.
year.
We'll close it out with that.
Liana finished 850th place, and I understand you kind of have to take this with a grain of salt because there was less people in the Open here, but the top of the sport didn't really go anywhere.
No.
Minus
850 is
50
very
people
good.
or something like that. No. She finished 850 last year. In the
Last
Open.
year.
She finished 250th place in the Open this year.
Yeah, I understand there was like a 30-something% drop, but like that 30-something% drop, no chance was the
was
majority of
not-
that high level.
right.
No chance.
So the top of the sport stayed around. So she went from, I mean, that's when you're top 1,000 in the Open, to make that jump is wild.
Yes.
So like that was a huge success. She finished, I think, 43rd in the Open Northeast. So
Damn.
like, she qualified for Elite Division, Fittest of the Coast this year. Like, she's made a bunch of progress. Amy, last year she was 35 to 39, didn't even qualify for semifinals
Really?
for her age group last year.
Wow.
This year, she qualified, and she was 13 spots out from making a game spot. If they had kept the same number, it would have been 3, and she would have had a very high probability of making the games this year.
She's a unit, man.
So, like, that jump, I mean, I said it in my post about her the other day. but,
Beautifully
like,
written, by the way.
She literally didn't know how to do a burpee when she started with me in July.
Are you serious?
The first day that I met her, I had to teach her how to do burpees. So like to be able
Wow.
to do that within 8 months, doors pretty open for her. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. And when I say also, sorry, bringing it back a little bit, we love the teens and the masters divisions.
Yeah.
Love those. That's the community like that we want to really help out and service. Is like those two communities are great. Griffin has had a lot of success with his athletes this year. I can't remember any of the specifics off the top of my head, but both Amber and Stella were they're on the bubble right now for making the games. Maybe by the time
Well,
this
Elliot's
podcast-
gotten a fuck ton
Elliot
stronger.
has made crazy games
Yeah.
this year.
It-
Crazy games.
Insane.
Yeah. So it's he's had a lot of success with his athletes this year. So and I think the big thing that's really hard to showcase and picture about us is we have such a smaller talent pool than all these other companies.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep it that way a little bit because
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we're focused on our athletes.
Hmm.
But we have a smaller talent pool, and the things that we're doing with that smaller talent pool are absurd. Like we're
It's
taking
pretty
people
nuts.
and we're making them significantly better. And I use this as a point with a lot of people, but like there's a difference between an organization that is good at there's a huge difference between an organization that's good at developing people and an organization that's just there to, a lot of your people are just a number on a wall. And like TTT has some really great coaches. And they do have some good success with athletes. But they have had, at this point in time, tens of thousands of people walk through their door.
Yep.
CrossFit Kilo in Bumfuck Nowhere, Iowa. And they've developed, they have had a lot of games athletes walk through their door.
CrossFit Kilo or TTT?
TTT.
Okay.
And they've coached a lot of people at the games.
Yep.
And they have developed Travis and Alexis
Yep.
as games athletes. Mm-hmm. 2. Mm-hmm. Tens of thousands. And I'm not saying that we're like
He's not talking shit. He's just giving matter-of-fact information.
CrossFit
That's
Kilo
all.
in Iowa is bumfuck nowhere, Iowa. It's in fucking Iowa.
That
they've
in
de-
itself is bumfuck
Yeah.
Iowa.
They've developed Colton Mertens. They've developed Luke Schaefer, qualified for the games, and Street Horner. 3 people, not to mention they've sent a team to the games every single year except for 2 since 2010.
Well, that's what happens when you're corn-fed.
Corn-fed, yeah. So there's a difference between athlete development and just people walking in your door. And
Yeah.
I understand, I know we haven't developed anybody to go to the games, and Stella's gone to the games. We've sent a couple teams
Amber's
to the games.
gonna
I've coached a couple
develop and
teams to
make
the
it, yeah.
games. So we have
Amanda
developed
was on the
people.
cusp.
Man, right, and that's what you have to kind of look at because
Yeah.
we don't have as large of a talent pool. Is we've taken people who get brushed off, Amanda,
Yeah.
from other companies. She was brushed off by TTT, and we bring them to the point where we see the potential in them.
Mm-hmm.
And she was bubbled to the games, and
Yeah.
that's because we care about athletes, we care about their performance, and we see potential in them where a lot of these other companies are like, either you're there or you're not. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not, you're a number to us and we don't care.
I can't stand that.
And
Can't stand that number.
I'll say this as well, to try and walk back some of that some of the douchiness of that. There are great coaches at a lot of these organizations, great coaches that do treat their athletes very well.
I want to stop you because you weren't douchey there, and I want everyone to know that you were only speaking matter of fact.
I'm just I don't know all the numbers. TTT does a great job with developing masters athletes. They've sent a lot of masters athletes to the games, and I don't know all their numbers, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking on my ass right now for sure. I'm just saying what I've seen from the big stage level.
Yeah,
And,
you're not talking out of your ass. You're talking from the big stage level.
Yeah.
You're not giving precise numbers.
Right.
You're
But you
giving
can-
an idea of near low percentage of developed based on the large group, whereas
Yeah.
like the 3 athletes that you just said from Kilo out of the like 10 that are there, like that's 30% compared to 10 out of 10,000, which
Yeah.
is math, you know?
Yeah, right,
And then like, you don't have a games athlete, right? But like, bro, how many athletes went to Fittest of the Coast?
It was a lot. I think we had like 20 there.
20 plus,
Yeah.
and how many of them
I think at the
podiumed in each division? There was at least
quite a few. I think we had
okay,
like 4
there
or
you
5,
go.
yeah.
Like in Fittest of the Coast, like it's not Wadapalooza, it's not TFX, whatever, but it's big.
Yeah.
And like there are games athletes that go there. Amanda won it last year, and then and also last year there was AJ and Caroline, okay? And then this year there was more.
Yeah,
And not to mention like people like John who did the individual and then team back
Yeah.
to back last year. That was going to happen again for others, I'm sure. But anyway, the rattling of that is like the same with Beach Brawl.
Yeah.
we had a fuck ton of people. You had a fuck ton of people there,
Yeah,
and they all finished high.
We won 2. Like we
Yeah.
Amanda won Elite and Bree won RX.
So I mean, and that's like that.
and then
in
we had
its,
2 teams on the podiums.
so like you are developing people because all of them compared to Fittest of the Coast last year and Beach Ball last year as well, they finished higher.
Yeah.
You're not going to convince me that what you're saying is not matter of fact. You're not going to convince me that what you're saying is douchey.
Yeah. Well, it probably is coming off as douchey, but
Fuck 'em.
I mean,
Like, I'm sorry. No.
I think a lot of these other organizations, I don't know how great they are at developing athletes either. Like the big names are essentially the business model for the big names is pay the high level athletes to come in, do your training program. They make a paycheck. They get to live off of just doing fitness, and whatever happens at the games essentially happens at the games.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like,
So, like-
have 1-2 people like that, right, to
Yeah.
help drive the company or whatnot to get people in. But then,
I'm just saying what their business model is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the actual development of athlete is inside of like some of the bigger organizations.
Sure.
We've just, we're like, from what I'm a little bit closer to TTT.
Yeah.
'Cause, like
You work there.
Yeah. I
And-
see it's on my radar a little bit more, but
we're 3 miles away from them. if that.
yeah, right. So like, I think some of these bigger organizations have their business model is just kind of like accrue athletes, and then those athletes that they've accrued drive traction to the industry. I don't know how much there's actual development going on at
Right.
those places.
I'm
And
gonna-
again, I don't know. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm gonna let's move on because like I feel you're backpedaling too much. Honestly, like I think you're too concerned about. You've covered your bases.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sorry to be pushy like that. You've only said matter of fact things. The blacklisted crew, man, like they're amazing, and they continue to drive the value of the company, which is them, and you continue to run it properly, and you have people that are with you that want to continue to help you run it that way. So like, I know this is kind of ended ish on kind of a
Weird note.
weird note, but like I'm getting emotionally and personally invested into the conversation a bit more just because the same way you are with me with the swim stuff. There's nothing wrong with admitting like what you're doing is great.
Yeah.
All 3 of you.
Yeah.
Because it is great.
Yeah.
And it's above the curve. It genuinely is above the fucking curve.
Yeah.
And your ideas work. So final thoughts on all of this. My side, I think it's fucking phenomenal how you've described like how you measure the recession or the state of the economy based off the fitness industry and how you're still able to progress forward and still maintain people's health value, fitness value, whatever. It allows them to maintain that at a high level to be a part of you.
Yeah.
Be a part of Griffin, be a part of Pat.
Yeah.
Be a part of this fucking blacklisted community where we were going to have 75 people at the Bring a Friend workout that one day before the tornado or the snow came through.
Yeah.
Or some shit.
We were gonna have 50 people there.
That's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that still almost 30 of them made it,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, well done on you. Well done on the growth of it. And then I think like this is a really good opportunity to leave a cliffhanger for you to open up about your progression into where it is now from the very start on another episode.
Possibly.
Possibly.
All right, another moment of silence for Yana. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.